Yo, yo. Make sure this thing is on first. It's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. Cue the, cue the Diddy Hate Me Now music. It's been a long time. What up? What up? I know it's been a while. I don't even know. Sometimes I'll be going back and forth with this vlogging shit. Like, I'll be. Sometimes I'm like, am I a little too open with my life? But it is what it is, man. This for y'all. This for the people that actually care about what's going on in Passport Rav's life. Been a minute. I'm in a new place. Pardon as I roll up. I want to tell this story. I was kind of hesitant to tell it. It's been just sitting on my mind, and I'm like, it's so real and like sad. I'm like, but I feel like people could relate. So if people could relate, I'm gonna tell it. But yes, as I roll up and get ready to get my day going in the gym, laundry, let me tell this story about dating in Brooklyn. So I always found it interesting, or I don't know. I just always found it weird when like I have had homies where they've come across a woman of interest that you know that they're head over heels over, and they don't really want them back like that, and they make it obvious like they don't want them back like that. And my homies used to come to me and be like, heartbroken or whatever. That shit was just low key in the back of my head. I'm like, but like, bro, she doesn't want you. Like, why? Why are you tripping over a chick that doesn't want you? And now, such is life that will put them same challenges right in your face. You know what I mean? So you already know how I get down. I'm gonna tell all, well, not all, but I'm an open kind of guy, so I'm gonna just tell my story about how a nigga got his heart broke in Brooklyn. Where do I begin? This was end of last year, December or some shit. Met this gorgeous ass woman at Buttons World. Shout out to Buttons, dope spot to go to in Bushwick, Bed-Stuy. One of my favorite spots. And it was kind of like one of them magical nights, Like I ain't gonna lie, like I meet a lot of women from dating apps, so and I'll be bagging in person too. But for the most part, a lot of dating apps where it's like you don't know what you're gonna get, you don't know what they smell like, you don't know what they really look like, you know, all of that. But this one was one of them nights where, like, as soon as I walked in, we just locked eyes, and it's like I couldn't help but say something. It's just like that point where, like, when people are staring at each other, it's like it's weird if you don't say something. So I was just like, "Yo, what's up? You look good." Blah blah blah. Start exchanging words, exchanging drinks, and even that night, from the beginning, it was weird vibes where it's like not weird, but women choose. In my opinion, I let women choose. I'm not the one that's gonna be doing all the chasing and this, that, and the other. It's just like you have the options. You're the catch, I guess, in the sense of like naturally men go after women, so it's just like you're gonna have a bunch of dudes coming at you, so you choose. So whatever. It was basically like me and this other guy. She was kind of going back and forth with. And in my head, I'm just like, oh, we was kicking it. I bought her a drink. We was kicking it, chatting it up, and then she went back to the other dude. And I was just like, oh, cool. It's just like that's your man or whatever. Like, I'm not tripping. I'm not one of them dudes that's just like mad sensitive when when a woman turns you down. Like, I think that shit's pussy. Like, so I'm like, all right, whatever. It's like that's your man, whatever. So then she comes back and starts talking to me again. And I'm like, yo, like, thought that was your dude. So she actually like pulled me down to sit with her. 'Cause I was just standing there minding my business. And then she's like, "Why are you being so quiet?" I'm like, "Yo, I thought that was your man. Like, like you was all dancing and all this stuff, blah blah blah." And then she's like, "Nah, that's not my man." But she basically chose me at the end of the night. So we dip. We're in like her homegirl's car, adventures in Brooklyn. This random person. She like jumps in my lap immediately, just showing interest or whatever. She was drunk and like wanted to take her home, but she was too drunk. So it was just like, like I wanted nothing would have happened anyway. It was just like at that level of drunk where it's like, nah, not trying to do that. Don't want no mistakes or whatever. But fast forward, exchange numbers, keep kicking it, or just talking, building. I'm playing it cool, whatever. I'm not sure where she's at because, like I said, it was like kind of this back and forth thing at first, and I start liking her. I don't know if it's just like the attraction. It's like I don't know if it's the looks, but I'm like I've definitely smashed baddies like this. Like she wouldn't be the first one, but it was something about her. I don't know, something about her that really kind of took me to the point where I was just playing myself. Like first date we went out on, I could just tell by the way she walked in, like the energy was just like she wasn't that into me, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, I don't know. The first time we met, we was drunk, but I'm like, am I not what you expected? You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. She just walked in the spot when I took her out on the first date, and the energy was just off rip. It was just I I learned this lesson of never denying that gut instinct, that gut feeling that when your spirit is telling you something is off, it's like disrespectful to deny that, to deny that intelligence, that soul and that soul brain. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't know, instincts. So she just wasn't like very smiley or just like too hyped to see me, and that's just different because most women, it's like they see me, they're happy, they're like, oh, like I'm a good looking dude, it's like whatever. So we get to flirting, we're hanging out, bring her back to the crib afterwards, and I'm like, all right, like we're holding hands, we're making out, touchy feely, flirty, all this shit, and I'm like, even that night, I'm like, I feel like I probably could smash, but I really didn't even want to. It's like, I mean, I'm not sure if I could or not, but we were definitely getting close. And I'm like, I don't know if this is just a physical thing for her, but for me, I'm like, I'm kind of interested. I'm like, this is very new. I'm not going to say it's new. And like, no disrespect to any of the women that may be watching this that I've been with or nothing like that. And it's just like, not to say I'm not interested or whatever, or wasn't interested in y'all. It's just levels and feelings and this, that, and the other, whatever. This was just like a really strong like feeling, and for me, I'm like I wanted to get to know her, and not for nothing. Even everything that happened in my past, where it's like we may have chicks that we may have popped off the very first night and this, that, and the other. I feel like I kind of saw that pattern and seeing that, all right, like I want to get to know a person. Let me do something different. Let me not just do the same thing and just go straight to sex every single time. Like first time meeting a chick. But so and I told her straight up, I don't know if it was the first or second date where I was just like, yo, I don't even want to fuck you. I just looked her straight in the face, like, I'm not trying to fuck you. She's like, you don't want to fuck me. I'm like, nah, I want to get to know you for real. Like, want to get to know you, type shit. And she's like, okay. Then it's just like more and more things. So I know that my feelings are building at this point because I'm getting sensitive. I'm like, not even on some, I'm not the type that's like, oh, why she ain't calling me back or this, that, and the other, or this. It's just like the energy when I would FaceTime her or see her. It's just like stone face, just like stone. And I don't know. Because I've been on that other side where like I'm not super interested. And that's kind of how, I don't know, it's kind of, maybe I'm doing the same thing. And I'll be like, is this my karma? Is this like my karma to maybe I'm confusing other women that I've dated like this, and this was my karma to see myself. Maybe I don't know, but I start feeling like, yeah, she's really not that into me. So now I'm talking to like my homies, and my homies are just like, bro, like she wouldn't be holding hands with you, kissing you, letting touchy feely if she wasn't that into you. And I'm just like, yeah, mate, I don't know, like it could just be on some sex shit, and which I don't mind. And then my other homie was just like, yo, you need to fuck that bitch, like just fuck her, and conquer her first. And I'm just like, I just was on some soft shit, man. Like like just didn't really want to see it that way. I was interested in her as a person because she was already fine as shit and successful or whatever. We definitely like did not match personally, like personality wise, like life wise, like as far as politics, religion and like all this stuff. I noticed that like we definitely didn't have a lot in common, but we did have good conversations, and even just like the way we would agree to disagree. It's like grown shit. Like I appreciate that. Like we're not going to always agree and see things the same way, and that's fine. But I just knew off rip, I'm like, you're really not my type of person, but maybe we can make this work. Maybe my ego is just like, I just want a bad bitch or something, you know. I don't know. But stuck on stupid, feeling this vibe of like confusion. Because when we're around each other, it was like holding hands, kissing, all this stuff. But then the energy was just like, eh. Mind you, red flag from her off rip. I'm like, I don't know. I never been married or engaged, but like she was engaged and like called off her wedding. Like I think the same week of the wedding, and I'm like, all right. I don't know her. I try not to judge, but it's kind of a red flag for me. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Is that a red flag? But so yeah, we're kicking it, going out, whatever. Uh, and then I kind of back up. You know what I mean? Like I get on my like alpha male shit and like back up. Like I don't sweat broads anyway. And then one day I hit her up. I'm like, listen, if you're not that into me, it's cool. Just like let me know, like because I am into you, and I understand at this point it was like this fork in the road where it's like I'm like, hey, if you're not that into me, cool. Like we could go our separate ways. And then she sent me this message like, oh, I see you more than you think. I'm just really busy and trying to get, she's trying to get her business off the ground. And like, I get that. Like, I'm fucking trying to get my shit off the ground. I totally get that, and made it seem like basically I am interested, blah, 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 just not really in the space to like, I guess, date seriously or something. I don't know. But, she was interested. Mitchie, I'm trying to do a vlog. I'm not playing right now. Go. Get up. This is that fork in the road. And she sends me this message like, I am interested, let's talk. So we talk, and she's like, I don't really want any pressure, blah, 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 and I get that. I didn't feel like, and at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm not trying to pressure you. Definitely, I hate pressure in anything. Like, if it's not natural, like, that's just not real if it doesn't happen naturally, organically, you know. So we're like, all right, cool. Let's play it cool. We could talk, be friends. Totally fine with that. Like, just getting to know each other. So she tells me I don't barely hit her up. So I'm like, okay, you want me to pursue you? Or that's what it's like what I'm hearing in my mind. Like, you want me to pursue you more, hit you up more, or whatever. So I start doing that. Um, I think she goes away to visit family, sending me pictures of like family. We're like texting, blah, blah, blah. So at this point, I think what happened was I'm like, I've never been like this before, y'all. I've never felt this interested in a woman before. And I go back to what I said initially. Like, I used to always be confused at like dudes where they're like, if a woman don't want you back, like fuck them, like keep it moving. But this one, it was hard. Like, I couldn't just keep it moving. So I'm like sending her songs that like remind me of her or that I'm thinking about. I'm just like showing love in a musical way. Just like I'm like, for someone who wants this, it's probably romantic. It's probably, nice. They want that. It's like they appreciate that. But for someone who's not that into you or maybe just not in that space, it's like I probably pushed her away. Me and my homies used to say, "You scare the pussy away." I'm scaring the pussy away by over pursuing, and I couldn't help it. But to me, I wasn't. I don't know. I didn't think I was over pursuing. We're texting, sending each other songs, and then she kind of, I think, not for nothing perspective. I was also in a place of moving. I just moved to this place. I was living in an apartment for 7 years, and like I was going through stress because it was like I'm in the middle of moving into this bigger apartment. I'm leveling up. Like my life, I'm leveling up all the way. Like so. But it's also just like this. It's scary. It's like, nah, I don't even know if scary is the word, but like moving, starting over again. That shit's hard. So I was going through that, and I definitely was like at one point maybe reaching out a little too much or overly expressing myself, saying too much. Like, you're pursuing a woman. This is like also advice for the dudes out there. Like, women don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to feel that energy of like you're transitioning and like honestly, like I don't know, maybe it's like if she was my person, maybe she would have understood like where I was at that point or if the timing was different, but I'm sending off too much like energy like, "Oh, be my friend and let me express myself to you of what I'm feeling at the moment. Yeah, I want to see you. I wish I could see you, but this, that, and the other." She stopped responding and basically like got that phone call where she never really calls me like that. Not to say I call her like that, but she called me twice, and I think my phone was on silent or something. I didn't see the call, and I'm like, I know what these calls mean, like instantly, And I don't know. I guess I think about death when I think about these calls, not to because that's like these are the same type of calls where it's like that feeling like someone's calling you for something to tell you something tragic or whatever. And yeah, that's when she told me she's gonna fall back. And that shit hurt. That shit hurt. And not for nothing, some minor details that like make that shit worse. I live right next to I moved around the corner from this chick. You know what I mean? Not intentionally. Not intentionally. Out of all the spots in Brooklyn, this particular spot was like affordable in my budget, big as shit. I have my own studio. I got all this shit, and like I live right next to her. I gotta walk past her crib to go to the train. Shit is awkward, and I didn't think it was gonna get to this point, y'all. Like, cause this shit's weird for me, and I guess this is why I'm telling this dating story because it's like go back to that call because I'm not going. I'm like, listen, y'all get an open book from me. You know what I mean? Like my story, use me. It's a little awkward to share shit like this as a big 6'3" ass man, that could fight. But that shit broke me down. That shit broke me down. It's like all the pain that I've experienced and death. It felt like death. It felt like something that you want, that you're reaching to, that you can't reach to anymore. That you get cut off like that. And that's that and I don't know if it's like that compound pain of all that build up from before. I said this shit in a song on some unreleased shit. I cried the tears of every funeral I kept it cool at. It's like when I'm being so strong throughout life and like losing people and like people not wanting me, family, parents issues, and this chick not wanting me in that moment and telling me this, like that shit hit me hard. That shit hit me hard that night. I'm not gonna lie, be completely open with y'all. And yeah, it forced me to pray. It forced me to get tap back and tap so deep into my spirituality and like to make myself stronger. And I appreciate that heartbreak for that. You know what I mean? That heartbreak was like needed because I wouldn't have got this. I wouldn't have leveled up spiritually and mentally and like you know what I mean. I'm a strong dude physically, but like mentally and spiritually, like I needed that to toughen me up, to like make me understand frankly like how cold it can be, how cold some people can be, because it was kind of cold. It's like then she didn't even text me on my birthday, you know what I mean? It's like how we go from being this close to just like this cold. So what happened is what pushed me, I guess, because this happened a few months ago, and I guess I'm just not talking about it because like I just seen her on the train yesterday, and it's like the energy is the strangest shit. I'm like, I've never experienced this with a woman before, where like we didn't nothing bad happened. I don't really have no bad records with women. I'm about to say I'm a 90 percentile. I'm not gonna say 100%, but most women I've dealt with, we usually end on good terms. Good terms. There's no malice, and I'm not saying that there is, but to just like not to see each other and not speak, to be like that close and then see each other and not speak, that shit is strange to me, And I'm like, should I have said something? Should I? But I'm really not the type to approach people that don't want me or like over pursue. That was so different of me to like pursue her that way. I'm really like, you know, um, I guess it just makes me wonder, like, in my dating world also, like that balance of who wants who more, like who, like this whole time, like, I mean, I have dope ass women in my life. That's the other thing too. It's like I'm really like this shit. Like women love me out here. Women love me out here, and I'm loved like on different levels, sexually, romantically. Like just as a person. Real love. Like I'm loved out here. So like, for me to be so broke hearted over this one chick, that shit just, yeah, different, different. But I appreciate, again, I appreciate getting to this point in that lesson. It's needed. A heartbreak was needed. But anyways, y'all tell me what y'all think. Should I have said something when I saw her on the train? Because she literally, like, we just, like, big ass mask, just, like, looked at me, kind of turned the other way. I'm like, damn. Oh, like, shit, that shit is cold. I ain't never, I'm like, you would have thought we was in a relationship and I, like, cheated on her or something. I'm like, that shit was cold. But, yeah. This is a tough one. I ain't gonna hold you. This is tough, like, um, and weird at the same time because I really don't understand why the feelings are so strong for somebody that like was kind of basic at the end of the day. But yeah, it's all love, and be careful out here in this dating world. Me, I'm in a space where right now I'm loving this single life. I'm being single and building myself, building my motherfucking self to a level of strength. You know what I mean? Where yeah, I think we all need that, man. We need time to just really do what the fuck you want to do and be by yourself. Um, but yeah, I wanted to share that story with y'all. If y'all can relate, share a story with me where you got your heart broke like that, man. I've got my heart broke a few times, like for sure. It's different levels of like, I guess, disappointment or heartbreak or whatever. But I tell you this, my pen game and my drive for music, I'm gonna close on this before I go start my day. Definitely working. I also wonder that too. I'm like, am I like purposely getting like doing sabotaging myself so I can have something to rap about or something? Like I don't know. Like I don't know. My subconsciously like doing things like this on purpose, pursuing people who don't want to be pursued, or like setting myself up for failure. It's kind of corny like to be doing that on purpose, dude, for me, in my opinion. But shit, can't help it. And we're like in this simulation. But musically, I'm trying to make 5 albums like this year. I already finished one, and working with multiple producers, putting this pain in the music, constructively. And I can't wait to release it. Am I out of focus? Whatever. Can't wait to release it, and hopefully y'all enjoy it. Hopefully y'all feel me, you know, musically, and feel how this comes out. But yeah. Let me know if should keep doing these vlogs too, man. I mean, I'm gonna keep doing them anyway. But if you feeling these vlogs, if you relate, drop some comments, subscribe, put some likes up, and pee for that passport. Have a happy Saturday, you filthy animals.